previous lecture we had learned with the factors responsible for growth. In previous lecture we had learned with the conditions for growth, internal as well as external factors. Fine. Now today we will discuss the most important thing, differentiation differentiation and redifferentiation. Everybody understand it properly. You know that in the plant the growth is due to the meristematic tissue, and as you know that the meristematic tissue, it means the group of the actively dividing cells. You know that after the division some cells undergoes maturation stage and lost their divisional capacity and become mature. This is known as differentiation, and as you know that this differentiation is responsible for formation of the permanent tissues. Now, what is dedifferentiation? Dedifferentiation means differentiated cell again start to divide. Generally what we understand that differentiation means the cell is mature and lost its divisional capacity. Yes, it is right, but not permanently, temporarily based on that. Due to any circumstances or due to any type of the need to the plant, the differentiated cell again start to divide and form the new and new cells. That phenomenon is known as dedifferentiation. So in class I had told you that one example there. For example, if any part of the plant can be eaten by the grazing animals, so from that grazing parts it is regenerated, and that is the example of the intercalary meristem. So now here the differentiated cells start to divide and form the remaining whole part of the plant as it is, that previous one. This phenomenon is known as dedifferentiation, and redifferentiation, it means the differentiated cell become mature. I mean to say differentiated is known as dedifferentiation. So differentiated cell here it is divided. Fine. Now again, after proper regeneration, the dedifferentiated cell become redifferentiated. Might be it is temporary or permanent, temporarily or permanently entering the mature phase or loss its divisional capacity. Okay, and sometimes redifferentiated cell if the plant required for further cells to grow. Okay, for growth. So redifferentiated cell again become dedifferentiated, and this cycle is continued there. Okay, so here this is the very important point. Let us see from the textbook. Differentiation, dedifferentiation and redifferentiation. The cells derived from the root apical and shoot apical meristems and cambium differentiate and mature to perform specific function. This act leading to maturation is termed as differentiation. During differentiation, cell undergoes few to major structural changes both in their cell walls and protoplasm. For example, to form a tracheary elements, the cells would lose their protoplasm. See, in 6th chapter, phloem. Phloem means that tracheary elements are there. Sorry, xylem. Xylem means that you know that tracheids and vessels. So, in xylem, primary xylem converted into secondary xylem, and in secondary xylem the protoplasm become dead. You refer that, okay? They also develop a very strong elastic lignocellulosic secondary cell wall. Lignocellulosic means made up of the lignin as well as cellulose to carry water through the long distance even under extreme tension. Here, the upward flow of the water against the gravitational force, it is known as ascent of cell. Fine. And the upward movement of the water or upward transport of the water against the gravitational force, it is due to the transpiration process. You know that water is lost in the form of the vapor by the aerial parts of the plant, just from the stem as well as leaves also. So you know that on the leaves stomata are present. So this stomata consists the stomatal pores, and through this stomatal pores the water is lost in the form of the vapor in the atmosphere. This procedure is known as transpiration. Due to the transpiration in leaf, water amount decreases. So corresponding xylem from that water is now entered inside the stomatal pore, from where transpiration occurs. Now in this xylem water amount is low, so from the branch xylem water enter inside here. In branch from the stem water comes, and in stem water comes from the root. So at last what happened in the root cells consist very less amount of the water, and outside of the root cells inside the soil the water amount is in the higher condition, higher amount. That's why through osmosis process water enter from the soil to the root cell, and in this way water is absorbed. Try to correlate the various anatomical features you encounter in plants to function their forms. Plants show another interesting phenomenon. The living differentiated cells that by now have lost the capacity to divide can regain the capacity of division under certain conditions. See, under certain condition is very important word. If condition is created in a such a way in which differentiated cell might be there in the differentiated stage also only, but sometimes differentiated cell become de-differentiated and de-differentiated cell become differentiated again, and then the cycle is continued there. But sometimes what happened, the differentiated cell retained in the differentiated stage as it is. This phenomenon is termed as a de-differentiation. So please everyone, you understand the de-differentiation means the differentiated cell which lost its divisional capacity, it regained its divisional capacity and start to divide. For example, formation of the meristem, intervesicular cambium. See, here in the 6th chapter, this was there in the secondary growth. Intervesicular cambium means between two successive vascular bundles medullary rays are present. Okay, I can explain you this one. Intervesicular cambium, and here in the description, intravesicular cambium I written there, and from the cambium ring. So these three words are very important there. Fine. Just see. For example, this is the transverse section of the stem. You assume it. Fine. First, before understanding this, I want to clear the meaning of that one word, vascular bundle. See, vascular bundle is nothing but the fusion of the xylem and phloem. Okay, this is known as vascular bundle. associated relationship between xylem and phloem. It is known as vascular bundle. See, here I can draw the vascular bundle fluid in the transverse section of this stem in this way. Okay. This center part is known as pith or medullary part, center part. Find mid part. See, this one round indicates one vascular bundle. So you assume that here in vascular bundle, cambium is present in the center. Okay, double strip. This double strip is known as intrafascicular cambium. Cambium is present inside the vascular bundle. Okay, and here in the centermost part, in between the two vascular bundle, small strip is present there, but which is not connected on the both the side to the intrafascicular cambium. Okay, just in a very small step. So this wall round is known as vascular bundle. Vascular bundle in the center of that intrafascicular cambium there. Okay, and this small strip like structure, it is known as medullary rays. Actually, medullary rays become differentiated one during the primary growth. When primary growth is there, the medullary rays become non-meristematic one. It means it lost its divisional capacity. Now, here in this vascular bundle, suppose example, I can draw the blue color in the center of it. Okay, blue color in the center and red color periphery. So this blue color indicate xylem, and this red color indicates phloem. Now understand what is interfascicular cambium. Interfascicular cambium, it is actually originated from the medullary rays. This one. Now listen the sentence carefully. During primary growth in the plant, there is longitudinal growth occurs, as you know. During the primary growth, apical meristem which is present on the root apex as well as shoot apex. So increasing the length of the stem, increasing the depth of the root depth. When primary growth is completed, then this medullary connected on the both the sides like this. Okay, small strip-like structure. This one, both the medullary rays. So this medullary rays develop on the both the side. It become meristematic and connect to the intravesicular cambium. So this small strip-like structure become meristematic one. Now instead of the medullary rays, I can write here the name intervesicular cambium. Okay, now this medullary rays again on the both the side it develops. And see, in this way, in the vascular bundle called ring-like structure, it is formed in the center of the vascular bundle. This is known as cambium ring. When the cambium ring is generated there, then from the primary xylem, secondary xylem form, and from the primary phloem, secondary phloem form. So actually this is the detailed information about the vascular cambium. It is given there in the 6th chapter in the ending portion. Okay. So intervesicular cambium become meristematic one. So intervesicular cambium is now connected to the intravesicular cambium and form wall ring-like structure, and primary xylem and primary phloem converted into secondary xylem and secondary phloem like that. And Golgi cambium from fully differentiated parenchyma cells. As you know that the meaning of the Golgi cambium, the outermost wall of the plant is known as cork. While doing so, such meristems or tissues are able to divide and produce cells that once again lose their capacity to divide but mature to perform the specific function, that is get redifferentiated. So dedifferentiated cell, which is meristematic one, it become mature. This procedure is known as redifferentiation. List some of the tissues in the body diploid plant that are product of the redifferentiation. Okay, here generally we say that new branch bud, new leaf bud, flower bud, fruit bud, new flowers or fruits, etc. etc. These are the examples of the redifferentiation in the plant. How would you describe a tumor? Tumor is nothing but the group, the elevated portion of the group of the cells, which is known as tumor. What would you call the parenchyma cells that are made to divide under controlled laboratory condition during plant tissue culture? This is known as meristematic growth. If you put any type of the cell, if you put any type of the cell in the suitable cultural medium, then the cell start to divide and form the new and new cells. Recall, in section number 15.1.1, we have mentioned that the growth in the plant is open. That means it can be indeterminate or determinate. Indeterminate means unlimited. determinate means limited growth. So in some parts of the plant limited growth is there, in some part of the plant unlimited or indeterminate growth there. Now we may say that even differentiation in plants is open, because cells or tissues arising out of the same meristem have different structure at maturity. Generally, when you see on the main stem, flowers are not formed there. On the branch or in the axillary bud, the flower formed there. But some cells are differentiated to form the flower, and in these cells, genetic material, where the flower will be formed, everything information is located there. When this type of the location can be formed there, then and then the flower is originated, otherwise not. So after differentiation, de-differentiation occur, flower bud form, and after the flower formation, the re-differentiation occurs and the division stops. The final structure and maturity of the cell or tissue is also determined by location of the cell within. For example, cell's position away from the root apical meristem differentiated as a root cap cell. On the topmost part, I mean to say deepmost part, on the tip of the root cap is there. So root cap, it protects the meristematic tissue which is present on the root apex. So now here the root cap which is present on the tip of the root, it protects the meristematic region, fine, and protect the root apex, like that we say. So for example, cell's position away from the root apical meristem differentiates as a root cap cells, while those push to the periphery mature as an epidermis. Epidermis is nothing but the outermost layer of the plant parts. Okay, wherever you see, we see the plant directly, and this is epidermis. Yes, the leaf, stem, root, the outermost layer is known as epidermis. Fine. Can you add a few more examples of open differentiation correlating the position of the cells to its position in an organ? Each and every part. See, root in that region of meristem, region of maturation, region of the elongation. In the stem also, on the branches, find all the buds as open type of differentiation. Start to divide. Now the next topic, it is development. In the beginning of this chapter, I told to you that development is nothing but division plus differentiation, or we say that maturation. See, development is term that includes all the changes that an organism goes through during its life cycle, from germination of the seed to senescence. Germination of the seed, it is known as sprouting, and senescence means aging. All the type of the changes occur in between the germination of the seed, that is sprouting, to the senescence, so we say that aging. This phenomenon is known as development. Diagrammatic representation of the sequence of processes which constitute the development of the cell of the higher plant, given in the figure number 15.8. It is also applicable for the tissue or the organ. See the chart. The meristematic cell undergoes the plasmic growth. Cell division occurs again and again. Then the cell becomes differentiated. So during the plasmic growth, elongation occurs as well as maturation occurs. And at last, mature cell will be there. Mature cell is now undergoes the senescence stage, and then death occurs. Okay, so this is the phenomenon of the development. Okay, division, elongation, maturation, and then senescence, and then death. So sometimes what happened in the some parts of the plant, after protoplasmic development, again cell divides and form new and new types of the cells there. Plant follow different pathways in response to environment or phases of life to form different kinds of structure. This ability is known as plasticity. In favorable conditions of the atmosphere, in the different types of the conditions of the atmosphere, the plant forms the different kinds of the structures. This is known as plasticity. Example, heterophyty in cotton, coriander and larkspur. Here see that in the diagram. The juvenile phase. The juvenile is nothing but at one stage the leaf become mature. Here the diagram is drawn of that coriander. So in the initiation stage, the coriander is there in the juvenile stage. In the adult form, you see that the shape of it. And terrestrial habitat. Terrestrial habitat, find in that large leaf there, and in water habitat very thin leaves there. Sometimes you can Similar type of this thing find out in the coriander also. A is heterophyte, means different types of the leaves. Different types of the leaves in the larkspur and buttercup. In such plants, the leaves of the juvenile plant are different in shape from those in mature plants. In the other hand, difference in shape of the leaves produced in the air and those produced in the water in the buttercup also represent the heterophyllous development due to the environment. This phenomenon of heterophyly is an example of the plasticity. So in the terrestrial habitat, large leaves are formed, and in the water, very thin leaves are formed. Thus, growth, differentiation and development are very close related events in the life of the plant. Broadly, development is considered as the sum of the growth and differentiation. Development in plant, that is both growth and differentiation, is under the control of the intrinsic and extrinsic factor. The former include means intrinsic factors include intracellular, that is genetic material. The growth is affected by genes also, or intercellular, between the two successive cells. The chemicals are present known as plant growth regulators. The plant growth regulators are also known in the short form PGRS. See in the below line. So plant growth regulators or PGRS are often known as phytohormones, while the latter extrinsic factors include light, temperature, water, oxygen, nutrients, etc. So here the growth affecting on the plant factors, fine, growth factors affecting on the plant, we will discuss in the next lecture, the plant growth regulators, fine.